I'm working on a book, and it's going well, going swimmingly. But I've been accused of being a plagiarist. Their words, not mine. Their words, not mine. All right, there you
A lot
go.
going
You
on,
missed
yes.
Hump Day humor, didn't you, Dave? You had to
I
throw
did.
that
Had to
in.
get something in there. It's time for a chat with Pat.
Yes, and today we have Father Kevin Drew. He's been on the show before, a great guy. He was ordained in 2012, priest and pastor of the Diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph. He's well regarded for his preaching and evangelization, and his daily Mass and homily can be found at Catholic Radio Network. Welcome, Father Kevin. How are you today?
I'm good, Pat. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's always good to talk to you. So this was an article you wrote, and it was in, obviously, November when people hear the title of it. It was in Catholic Exchange. All are under the dominion of Christ. And I wanted, even though, this kind of is the feast that leads us into Advent, could you give our audience a little history on this feast? Where did it come from? Why do we have it? Those kinds of things.
Well, sure. Pope Pius XI promulgated it in 1925. And why did he do that? I think the world had come to regard the notion of Christ the King as something of a joke. Mm-hmm. And historical perspective we need is in 1917, atheists, Marxists, they overtook Christian Russia, which had been Christian for 1,000 years. It happened in Mexico as well. They murdered the Christian king and his family, and then they proceeded to murder the Christian moral order, and thousands of priests were murdered, and churches were leveled to the ground. So I think that's part of what prompted the Pope to say, wait a minute, Christ is king. He has dominion. It's not the state. It's Christ. So start with that.
Okay. Was it wasn't always the Sunday before Advent, correct?
Oh, let's go back to that. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, see, that was good point, Pat. No, it started in 1925, but it was going to be the last Sunday. It was the last Sunday in October, and that wasn't lost on anybody at the time because October, the end of October there, Halloween was Reformation Day,
right?
For the Protestants who threw off Christ's vicar on earth and went their own way. So we said, no, wait a minute. So that was kind of an answer to that problem. But then in 1970, the experts in Rome switched it to, for whatever reason, to the last Sunday of the year before Advent.
Well, one of the things, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but because it is the Sunday before Advent, a lot of times we think about this feast as in regards to the second coming, because we start Advent with talking about the second coming, winning in the end. But in your article, you kind of believe that's an incomplete understanding of Christ the King, that it's not just about winning in the end, right?
Yeah, well, I know I shouldn't complain, but yeah, I have like 2 weeks in a row of kind of the same thing, don't I now, with that, when we're talking about the end of time. But it just comes down to a simple question, right, Pat? Does Christ have dominion over all nations or not? And does that dominion begin at the end of time or is it now?
Right.
In the article, I cited Psalm 47, God is king of all the earth. God is king over the nations. God reigns on his holy throne. So does that happen now or at the end of time? And we have to make some hard decisions and say, well, no, it's now.
Right.
So
and Father,
that's where we're at.
That leads me to one of the wonderful things that you talk about in the article that I just love is you talk about how the Mass really kind of assists us in understanding our role in the kingship of Christ the King. Can you kind of make that connection for our audience? Because I thought it was wonderful.
Well, thank you. Well, let's go back to Exodus chapter 19, where what is Moses? What does he hear from God? You're a nation of priests, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are, and by our baptisms, we're priests, prophets, and kings. So we're related to Christ. We're royalty, but we go there, we go to Mass to offer ourselves. And since there's no time with God, he offers the perfect sacrifice that continues on altars all over the world. So we have an opportunity to actively participate in that. And how the Mass is traditionally celebrated, that's I guess that becomes dangerous to the state that wants us to bow down and offer sacrifice to them. There's really nothing new in this, I guess. You could go look at ancient Rome. There's very good parallels there, where they want us to, throw a pinch of incense to the Roman gods. And for 300 years we were an illegal church. And but the blood of the martyrs is the seedbed of Christianity, and there's our hope. So
and one of the things too that you bring up, which I think is amazing. It's a great line. You said you heard this line from another priest, but the congregation at Mass is not an audience to be entertained, but an army to be equipped. How does how does the Mass, do you see the Mass equipping us to be the army of Christ the King?
Well, that's a great point. I think that was Father McTagg that said that on the radio.
Okay.
And it gives Mass a more military flavor. That we're equipping you to go to war, my friends, and an army travels on its stomach. So we go there not just to celebrate a meal or have some entertainment. No, we're going there to do four things: adore God, praise and worship Him, beg mercy, and petition them. There's the four ends of Mass. And traditionally, that was all oriented, toward Christ. We weren't horizontal. We weren't looking at each other. We were going vertical with Christ, looking up to heaven, and there was our focus. And then, so 1 hour a week there on Sunday at the bare minimum, that set the tone for the rest of the week. And like I said, equipped us to go to battle for Christ. And most Catholics today, I'd say, don't even know they're on a battlefield.
Yeah.
So when we talk like this, they kind of scratch their head. What are you talking about?
Right.
But,
and
I would say the bottom line. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and C.S. Lewis uses that analogy too about, it's kind of like we're behind enemy lines. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, at the end of the day, somebody has to be in charge, Pat. I mean, there it is.
Right.
And, they've mocked the Catholic Church, and all these fallen away said, back in the day it was pay, pray, and obey.
Right.
And, now what do we do? Now they just pay and obey without praying.
Yeah.
They're obeying another God. And I did cite I forget where it came. It was a Gallup poll. It said 2001, 11% of Democrats and 7% of Republicans had no religion. By 2023, the difference widened to 33% of Democrats and 12% of Republicans that say they have no religion. But I would say, no, you have a religion. Everybody does.
Yeah.
They have some kind of ritual and ceremony they go through.
Yeah.
God gave us the true religion.
That's
He
right.
said He's the way, the truth, and life. So.
Well, thank you,
All right.
Father. Have a great week ahead.
All right.
All right.
Okay, God bless.
Bye-bye.